By the powers vested in me as the CEO and Executive Director of the United States Conference, on behalf of the nation's mayors, I hereby declare you to be the 76th President of the United States Conference of Mayors.
All right.
I want to set the tone tonight first by promising to be brief. And I mean the real brief, Pastor. It's not, I'm a Baptist. Baptists don't really know what brief means. So, I mean the real brief. So I will not be long. But I did want to set the tone tonight by saying that this evening is not about the inauguration of Stephen K. Benjamin. This is indeed about Columbia, South Carolina, and the Midlands of South Carolina. This is our opportunity to show, in concert with all of our sister cities all across this country, exactly what we're made of right here. When we talk about being the most talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city in America, showing people what that means, how we can work together to work and make sure that the needs of all our families are met, that the hopes and dreams of our families can become real, that here in the wealthiest, most powerful democratic nation in the history of the world, that cities can indeed be a force for good. In assuming the role of the presidency of the United States Conference of Mayors, we becomes leaders of this conference, the collective voice of hundreds of millions of people all across this country who aspire to earn a good life, to serve our communities, and give our families a future that they deserve. So tonight I come to you asking for your prayers, asking for your continued and constant prayers for sure, but also asking for open minds and a willingness from each of you to take this journey with me, with us. We have some incredible tasks here before us today, and I believe that it's opening up a new door for Columbia, South Carolina, and that while we have so much to receive from the nation, we also have so much to contribute to this country. I know I speak for all of my colleagues gathered here today when I say the opportunity to serve the cities in this country is not one we take for granted. The responsibility is weighty, and that we recognize it's not about us, it's us working for the people who elected us to serve, and the opportunity to serve this organization that has since 1932 served as a nonpartisan team of unified mayors and municipal leaders who are committed to laying aside their differences in an environment of cooperation to bring about change for people all across this country is indeed an exciting opportunity that I believe can be transformational in nature. This year, we're going to focus on the 3 I's, on infrastructure, innovation, and inclusion, recognizing that American cities and states build over 75% of all of American infrastructure, that indeed, that the metropolitan economies that we are at the center of now host 85% of our population, 89% of all jobs, 91% of America's gross domestic product is created in cities and metropolitan economies. We need a partner in Washington, D.C. that will help us make those investments in infrastructure, the nearly $5 trillion that's necessary for us indeed to be ready for the 21st century. But as Tom said earlier, with or without Washington, D.C., we're going to move forward in making those investments that will help people get their lives back on track, create untold jobs, investments in green infrastructure and smart infrastructure that will prepare us to be competitive in the 21st century. We will make an investment in innovation, recognizing that we have to leverage data, our collective wisdom, and sound public policy to foster the natural incubators of innovation that cities indeed are. We have to ensure access to broadband and make sure that access is ubiquitous across our entire community, not just in our city centers. We have to realize that 5G is coming. We have to get ready for driverless cars, as Jetsonish as that might sound. They're coming, and we have to prepare for them through smart public-private partnerships. Changes are coming, automation, artificial intelligence, a sharing economy. Together we have to prepare our children for opportunities yet unknown. Teach them coding, understanding that 65% of our kindergartners today will work in jobs that don't exist today. We have to prepare them in this innovation economy to be their very best selves and live up to their God-given potential. We have to grow innovative and creative children. We have to grow chefs, not cooks, people who can think on their feet and take advantage of what the world has to offer them. We need innovative and creative cities that not only focus on millennials, but also focus on perennials. You guys like that, right? I got that from someone else. Perennials, recognizing that 50 and 60-year-olds start more businesses than any other cohort in American society. In a world in which demography is destiny, the 50-plus marketplace is a $7.6 trillion market. As a country, it'd be third only to the United States and to China. We have to ask ourselves, how we be innovative in building age-friendly communities? We must move forward on infrastructure and innovation. And lastly, I will say this. Mark Twain had many famous quotes. One of my favorites is that the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you found out why. I would never be so presumptuous as to tell you that today is either one of those days. I will, however, tell you this, that this great city of Columbia was born on March 17th, 1786, by act of the General Assembly as the very first planned capital city in the United States of America, where the mighty Broad and Saluda rivers met to form the Congaree, birthed indeed in the original sins of American slavery, Native American genocide, and unequal rights across this country. Senator John Gervais made on that day a most prescient proclamation on inclusion. Several considerations were made in deciding the name of Columbia. During the planning of the new capital, Senator Gervais said it would be a place where the oppressed of every land might find refuge under the wings of Columbia. It would be a place where the oppressed of every land might find refuge under the wings of Columbia. From the fertile silt and sediment washed upon these banks, our fair city was born, named for liberty's personification, so that victims of tyranny and oppression the world over might know that here you will be welcome, that here you will be free, that here you will find refuge under the wings of Columbia. This one Columbia has always fought for our greatest challenge and our greatest opportunity, inclusion. In a city where people from 200 nations speak 90 different languages, you may be greeted with a shalom, an assalamu alaikum, a konnichiwa, a buenos dias. We believe that in the words of the prophet Micah, that we should do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with each other every single day, that we are indeed all God's children. So that regardless of what emits or emotes from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the halls of Congress, or even our state capitol at times, this city will lead the way to what Lincoln called the better angels of our nature. And we will have a unique primary voice in helping this nation become our very best selves by preaching the virtues of value in every single child of God. I believe that our commitment to inclusion is why we are here now. I believe it's the reason why Columbia is here at this opportunity right now. We'll always work to build consensus, but never compromise on the issues that define each and every one of us as equals. The solutions to our problems will come as we dialogue together. I'm so pleased to announce that the United States Conference of Mayors will take on a new responsibility this year as we pull together the establishment of the Mayors and Business Leaders Center for Inclusive and compassionate cities. For decades, when it was oftentimes not popular, but the right thing to do, the U.S. Conference of Mayors has taken a strong position in support of civil rights in opposition to racism and discrimination of all kinds. Following the violent protests in Charlottesville in 2017, working with the Anti-Defamation League, we launched the Mayor's Compact to combat hate, extremism, and bigotry, to promote the fundamental principles of justice and equality that define America. More than 325 of the nation's mayors signed on, committing to act to fight inequities and create inclusive and compassionate cities. We know that is not a one-day event. It requires an enduring effort that pushes this sometimes against the strongest voices in the land. The important goal of the center is to work to create strong and committed partnerships between mayors and business leaders and our citizens inside the conference, and to collaborate on a vision of success to make our cities and ultimately our nation stronger, more equitable, more compassionate, and more inclusive. This will be a seven-figure commitment at least. Inclusion is good for our nation, it's good for our economy, and it's good for business, and it's good for cities. We are excited about this opportunity. I will say this, that over the next 12 months, we're going to be focusing on infrastructure and investing in America. We're going to focus on innovation, preparing for our future. And we're going to focus on inclusion, preserving the ideal that is America. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight, giving me the privilege and honor of serving you. And I ask that the Lord bless you and keep you. They make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. They lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Thank you.